welcome to a Victory Monday, our second one of the year edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, but you can call me Grizzer. And this is where we get you caught up with some of the latest news and tidbits that are tied to our favorite team in the NFL. That is, of course, the Cleveland Browns. Thank you to everybody who has liked our previous episodes. Hopefully this one gets on the list. And to all of you who have subscribed to the channel, we are that close to 10,000 subscribers. When we get there, we'll change the fit for just one day. We'll give the orange quarter zip a day off. We do it every time we cross a threshold on subscribers. And I'm going to have to make this one pretty special. 10,000. I can't thank you enough. Also, to everybody who has become a member of the Browns Latest Dog Pound, thank you very much. And everybody who gets their comments down there in the viewer comment section, I cannot thank you enough. Now, coming up on the Victory Monday edition of the show, did Kevin Stefanski come up with the secret sauce that ended with us squishing the fish? Or was it Andrew Berry who should get the credit for saving our season yesterday? As we turn our sights to New England, it may be time for Dillon Gabriel to put up or shut up. And in the viewer comments, why didn't Shador get any time at the end of that game? A very interesting take on the situation. Stick around for that. But first things first, Stefanski's secret sauce. So Joe Bitonio let it out of the bag after the game that Kevin Stefanski was fired up. Here's the quote. And I mean, whatever Kevin Stefanski fired up means. Here's the quote. It's what Joe Bitonio said. He said, I think it was just frustration boiling over. But he was intense and laid out expectations for us, especially on offense, and I think the guys answered the bell. Well, yeah, it seems that way. But it took until 1-5 and everybody ripping on you for you to finally ramp up the intensity at practice, Kevin. I mean, fine, that's great, whatever. But it's like the offense still was far from perfect. I mean, the defense pretty much got you 21 of those 31 points. I mean, you know, but where's this intensity before? Why wait until now is what I'm wondering. And, you know, it is what it is with Stefanski. I don't know. I don't know if these guys are playing for him as much as they are playing for themselves. I think the defense is playing for Schwartz for sure. I think they're all bought in. I think the offense doesn't really know what's going on. And thank God he watches this show and he finally ran Judkins like he should have. I mean, I thought Judkins would have had 100 yards. I mean, when you have 75 yards in the first half, you figure you're going to cash in on 100 yards no. Only 9 yards in the second half. So that's what I mean. And, you know, it's what we talked about yesterday. It's like, you know, when you start talking about the game and you start getting excited about the game and the win, you're like, you go, yeah, but. It's because at some point you're gonna need the offense to do more, because the defense will probably have a game at a point in the season where they're just not gonna shut everybody down like this. Now the Ohio State Buckeyes do, but at some point the offense is gonna step up, and this is probably the week, and we'll have more on that in a minute. Because so Stefanski had the secret sauce, brought the intensity to the week, but is it Andrew Berry that should be getting credit for the win? You're like, Dave, what? Why? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, Barry's the one who traded for Tyson Campbell, and he balled out. Take a look. He saved 2 touchdowns and had a pick 6. Remember, he chased down A-Chain in the first quarter on that one. It ended up being like a 50-yard run, but he's the one who saved the touchdown. He ran him down and saved the touchdown. And they ended up settling for a field goal there. Then he also knocked that ball away from Waddle It was in the end zone. Got caught up to it at the last second, knocked it away. It also led to a field goal. So right there. I mean, those are 4-point swings, right? Instead of 7, they're getting 3. So, and then he had to pick 6 to start the second half, and that essentially put it away. Although the way Miami was playing, you could tell they weren't going to do much on our defense. So, is it Andrew Berry that gets credit for the win? Not only should Andrew Berry get credit for this win, right? He gets some credit because he's the one who traded for Campbell, sent Newsome to Jacksonville, and brought him here. Campbell seems like a new man now, but he should also get credit for the Cincinnati win since he sent Flacco over to Cincinnati and he balled out and beat Pittsburgh on Thursday night. So Andrew Berry had a hand in 2 wins over the NFL weekend. So it seems. And so, say what you want. Campbell had a pretty good game. Like he really, and to me, again, that's a testament to the guy who should be the head coach of this team, Jim Schwartz. I mean, guys get in there and they want to play for him, man. And even like when I like listening to Jim Schwartz's press conferences because, you could just like he is that quiet intensity, and I'm sure it's a lot different when you're playing for him and you're out there on the field or you're in a meeting room or something with him. I'm sure he's getting the guys riled up, but he just has this quiet confidence about him, and a bit of swagger. Like you could really see a lot of him in that defense and the way they played, and especially the way they played yesterday with the blitzing. That's what I love to see. But you can't do that unless you have a lead. And we were all over the place. It looked like we, and I hate to say it, but it looked like we were watching like when Pittsburgh or Baltimore, these teams with these defenses, man, just start annihilating people. That's what we looked like yesterday, and very proud of the way that defense played. And Tyson Campbell was a big part of it, and Andrew Berry was the one who singled him out and got him here. So who gets the credit? Stefanski? Berry? I don't know. I think for this one, I might be leaning Berry because the offense, like I said, outside of Judkins, busting one for you, the defense sets you up with the super short field on another one of the runs. I thought the Wildcat thing was a little. He's not throwing the ball, so and then we almost snapped the ball right past him on the second touchdown. Like, ugh. So I don't know. I would give edge Berry. So this sets us up for this though, because we're going to find out a lot about Stefanski and his hand-picked quarterback as we look at the Week 8 storylines heading into this Patriots game, and that's because you are going to see 2 of the top 3 or 4 run defenses in the entire NFL. Nobody's going to be able to run the ball in this game on Sunday. Take a look. We are sitting there at 3rd. We're giving up about 80 yards a game, and then they're right behind us at 83 yards a game. Nobody runs on us. Nobody runs on New England. The good thing about us is people have a ton of trouble passing on us too. we can shut down the pass. But here's what I'm going to tell you. You can throw on New England. Their pass defense is not that great. They give up about 238 yards a game through the air. And so when the Browns get out there on offense and we can't run the ball, Kevin's going to have to throw it 58 times again, more than likely. And what's going to happen? And that's why I say this is going to be the storyline heading into this week is can Dillon Gabriel move this offense through the air against New England? Because that is where they're vulnerable. Going to be a huge storyline. He has yet to prove to anyone that he can throw the ball on a consistent basis. And yes, I know he's a rookie, but he spent 6 years in college. He's a computer. Like, this is all the stuff they tell you. He's not your typical rookie because, all the experience he had when he came in. And so it's not me saying it. It's what they're selling us. That's how they're selling Gabriel to us. And you could even Archuleta when he's calling the game. I like Adam Archuleta when he does the game. I think he's honest. I think he's smart. I think he knows. He's a good player. So, but even you can hear it in his voice when he's saying, "Oh yeah," when we talk to him, and He's such a nice guy, but a starting quarterback in the NFL, you can just hear it in his voice. You can hear it. Everybody feels the same way. Even after the game yesterday, went to a gathering after the game, and tons of Browns fans there, and that was it. Like that was the sentiment. Was like just like what we talked about yesterday. It's like, yeah, it was nice, but. And yes, well, do you think Gabriel can take us to a Super Bowl? No. Can you think? No. Nobody thinks Gabriel's taking us to a Super Bowl. But everybody thinks we have our backup locked down. Like he is the backup quarterback spot locked down. That's where everybody's living. But New England's running game on top of this is kind of a mess. They're averaging about 103 a game, but there's been they're looking at bringing somebody in. They're talking about making trades because Ramondre Stevenson has been fumbling about now. He had a good game yesterday. But Trayvon Henderson disappeared yesterday. They only gave him a couple of carries. They said they were going to start giving him more carries, but they don't like what he's doing. So their running game is a mess right now. So they're not going to be able to run on us. They should have trouble throwing on us because everybody has trouble throwing on us. It's going to be on the offense to get us a lead again, and we're not running on them. Not like we did against Miami. Miami's the worst in the league, and I told you going in, we should be able to run all day on them, and we did. Well, sort of. We did in the first half, and then not much in the second half, which I don't understand. Does it go back to second half adjustments? I think so. Even in a game like that, Miami made adjustments to stop the run. We didn't do anything to fix it. Another knock on Stefanski. But I'm telling you, this is probably going to come down to Gabriel throwing the ball. So he's going to have to put up or shut up. Can he put up the numbers against that New England defense that gives up 239 passing yards each game? They're at the bottom of the league, folks. Now, not very bottom. They're like 25th or 26th in passing yards allowed. So they give up yards through the air. If you have a quarterback that can throw it. The other thing with the Browns defense this week, dealing with Drake May, is he will run too, and he's pretty good at it, along with throwing it. But I don't think their receivers are that great. I mean, they got Diggs, and they got Diggs and Boutte. They got Hunter Henry, old ass Hunter Henry at tight end, So it's like, this is a team we can beat, folks, with our defense. We can beat anybody. We can beat this team if the offense cooperates and special teams isn't screwing us, like running into the centers and and giving up the big runs on kickoffs and everything else. Like we need all three facets for sure to beat New England this week. And the other thing that is going to be a storyline is Mike Vrabel going up against his old team again 2 weeks in a row. He got to beat the crap out of his old team Tennessee, and then he was with us last year. Now, it was an amicable breakup, and it was, for all intents and purposes, they knew it was going to be short term, which I was screaming up and down, we should hire him as our coach. We had him in the building. And now look at what he's doing over in New England. But he spent his time here. He wanted to learn more about analytics and things like that. He was, he consulted on some things, but he wants to beat us. He takes to take everything he learned from us and use it against us. He's going to want to do that. So that'll be another storyline going into this game too. Vrabel and his relationship with the Browns and all of that. So they're still, This is a very winnable game, but it's going to be, the onus is going to be on Gabriel this week. This is where you're going to find out a lot about where he's at this point. Now, this is only second time this year we got to do our Victory Monday viewer comments, and we got some very interesting takes coming up here. Hal Apino, 777. Great flipping handle, Hal. It's Hal, Hal, Apino. Apeno, Hal Apino, 777. And and this is where I think most Browns fans are sitting today. Here's what he says. He says, happy the Browns won for sure. The offense is still anemic apart from Judkins, and Gabriel is just not an NFL quarterback. Stefanski is horrible at calling plays, but the Wildcat was actually brilliant. enjoy the win, but by no means is this a time for optimism long term. And I thought he summed it up perfectly. Now, I stopped short of saying the Wildcat was brilliant. I thought it was a recipe for disaster, especially after the second time, because he's not throwing the ball. And then we almost snapped it over his head. But Stefanski goes to the well. My thought is that's would have been a spot to put Shedeur in. If you're going to mix it up, do that. That is the perfect spot to put Shedeur in. You're down inside the 5 like that, and then you give him the option to run or throw. The defense has no idea what's going on at that point if you want to do that. But I keep Judkins on the field. I'd put him in a slot, or I'd put him in motion, jet sweep him, something like that. Still can't, fake the jet sweep and throw it right back to him. You see how, like Miami use A-chain sometimes? Like, that's how we should be using Sampson and Judkins. In some respects. I like the way they throw to A-chain, the way they get them in space, the way they move them. It's just their team is terrible. They're a mess. Holy mackerel! I told you going in, they were a mess. They're checked out. Their whole team, it's over. They weren't talking about this game. They were talking about who we're trading. That's all they talked about all week. So we lucked into that game at this time to save our season a little bit. But hey, you play with the cards you have been dealt. Love America 24/77. One thing for sure, you won't be able to do this with the Patriots, and that's exactly what we just said. Love America. Totally agree with you. 100%. You're not going to be able to play this style of offense and beat the Patriots. You are going to have to be able to throw the ball effectively. So whether it's Stefanski, better come up with some kind of game plan, man, because we're going to need it. We are definitely going to need it. I have full confidence in a defense. I think that we can slow them down enough, but the only way we're going to win it is if we'll be right back to where we were the offense isn't doing anything. Because I feel like we get this win, you could get them 2 out of the next 3 for sure. Who knows what's going on with Baltimore and Lamar? If we get them without Lamar, although I think he'll be back. Then that's 3 straight very winnable games for us. So we'll see. Rich Reloaded says, again, this is the sentiment I got even at the party after the game. This changes nothing, Dave. Yeah, it's a win. It's nice. Season saved. We're still in it. We can still make the playoffs. There have been 4 or 5 teams that have made the playoffs that would after starting 2-5. So you can get it turned around. This was step 1. Remember, this was step 1 to getting there. But we're gonna need Gabriel this week. I'm telling you, folks, we are going to need Gabriel. We're gonna need something. We're gonna need wrinkles in this offense or something. So let's see if Mr. Intensity, Kevin Stefanski, can come up with something for New England this week. Moderated 6636 says, Grizz, honestly, what's your thoughts on being up that much in the 4th and still not let 12 get some reps in? Do you honestly think that's part of the, quote, development for the young quarterbacks? Now, I agree. He slipped Gabriel in there in a couple of those games early in the year when they got out of hand. And, why not Shedeur? I don't understand it. Miami did it with Ewers. They moved him up to QB2 before the game. And then got Ewers in there for his first action. Looked a little. He looked like a guy getting his first action against an elite defense. That's what he looked like. But I did think it was sketchy. But then I read this and I thought, this hit me hard, and I mean this in a good way. Will Smith, publisher, who says Barry is playing chess. And now there's a big, he wrote this big, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this drawn out explanation with a lot, he set it up. But here's the meat of what Will Smith, publisher, is saying about Barry and Barry playing chess. He says, if Flacco remained in Cleveland, it would have meant the same old place. Barry was aware of this. Flacco's great performance with Cincinnati, where he beat the Steelers, proved Barry's point. He was able to throw downfield successfully and was not limited by Kevin's play calling. This is what Barry revealed about Kevin's coaching. Again, let me emphasize, Barry is playing chess. Did everyone recall during the draft when Shedeur was selected how Kevin and Andrew were looking? The reason was that Kevin did not want Shedeur and Barry did. They had a conflict. That is what everyone was looking at on their faces during the draft. Not that both didn't want Shedeur, but they had a conflict. That's why they looked the way they looked. Will Smith goes on to say, I will predict that Shedeur will be QB1 after the bye week and for the rest of the season, and Kevin will not be calling plays. Kevin is about to lose credibility. And this makes a ton of sense to me. I could honestly see that. And so was the situation Barry saying, look, we can take Shedeur. I cannot believe he made it to the 5th round and we're taking him. And Kevin was like, no. Well, now, I got my supercomputer. He's undersized and left-handed, but he's my supercomputer. No, we're okay. And Barry's like, no, we're taking him. And they take Shedeur. Why not? First-round talent falling to the 5th round. Let's take him. It really, and then when you see Shedeur not getting into that game yesterday, like that feels personal. It really does. Because why not get you got 2 rookies that you're trying to develop. You got nothing to lose to put him, even if he just turns around and hands the ball off 5 or 6 times. Who cares? Get him in there. And another another interesting comment that I tend to agree with is, well, somebody said if they put Shedeur in, that would have overshadowed the win. You know, maybe Kevin wants to make sure that all of the love comes to him. Maybe that's where we're at with this. It's so broken, folks. It's not even close to being fixed. One win doesn't fix all of these problems that we have, and it starts with the coach. It starts with Kevin. Starts and ends with Kevin. I think this team there would be such a weight lifted off this team if they would just remove Stefanski and let Jim Schwartz be the head coach and Reese run the offense and finish the season that way. And see where that takes us, because it's still, we got very lucky with some penalties. We got very lucky that we were playing the mess that Miami is. We caught them at the right time. We were at home. This defense has not stopped. That was my one concern that they didn't. So the defense really had a big hand in saving the season. And so here we are at 2-5. But the drama, you can't save the drama for your mama with this team, because it's just spilling out all over the place. So I just thought that Will Smith Publisher, that was a hell of a take. If you get a chance, go find it in the comments from the show a couple of days ago. But I do think that there may be something there. And I don't know. We'll see. But this is a huge week. This is every single game. Like, I'm going to say, this is the biggest game of the season. Like, we're trying to save our season. Step 1 accomplished. Until we get to 500 or a one game above 500, we are saving our season with every one of these games. So time to save our season once again. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for joining us. Go Browns! We'll see you next time.